Sebastian Vettel is looking to make a comeback in the sport, but not in the proven fashion of returning as an F1 driver. It seems like the German driver is now ready to accept a leadership role in Red Bull, the team with which he won 4 championships, replacing Helmut Marko as the manager of the junior program. With this in mind, and considering how the internal war has reshaped the structure of Red Bull, could we see Vettel back in Formula One? And if so, how would the junior program change under his command? Red Bull seems like they're in for a massive change in their leadership, as Helmut Marko could be facing the inevitable scenario of being replaced from the role of the driver's junior program. We knew for a fact that it's not a role he'll be doing forever, especially not after the Red Bull internal war. A lot of relationships have been ravaged inside the Austrian squad, leading to high-profile members leaving Red Bull and joining their fiercest rivals, McLaren and Aston Martin. Helmut Marko believes that a legitimate replacement for his role can be found in Sebastian Vettel. The German driver has done something that boosted his hopes of returning to the sport in a more managerial role, completing a 4-day course at Harvard aimed at agents and managers. Even though the length of the course met a lot of criticism from the Formula One world, it's as clear as the sky that he's ready to make a comeback in the world of F1. He has his gates wide open. Red Bull is seriously considering the chance of having Vettel back to lead the junior program, because as things stand, Marko might accept the fact that he is no longer a good fit for the role that he's having right now. Even though he's been part of bringing extraordinary talent to the world of Formula One, time catches up to everyone. At the age of 80, Marko needs to think about his replacement, and in his own words, he named Vettel as the perfect one. When talking about this to a greater extent, Helmut said Vettel knows what he wants to do in the future, and that is, first and foremost, motor racing. Of course, we have to think about it. Sebastian would be an ideal candidate, but there are no discussions that have gone into detail. There are many names and also many applicants, but at the moment I am still quite fit. Sebastian's management skills have been on display. He is working with tons of young go-kart drivers in Saudi Arabia, promoting the mission of having more women involved in the sport. On top of that, he used Formula One as a great platform to talk about the imprint of the sport regarding global warming, or even the population of the bees. So, if there is anyone out there who can judge whether or not Vettel has what it takes to be the leader of the junior program, that's definitely Helmut Marko. But the situation is pretty much clear. If Vettel comes, a change in the philosophy will be seen in an instant manner. We know how toxic the environment of the Austrian squad is, and we know for a fact that they might have brought harsh decisions on some drivers much earlier than anticipated. Let's take Lawson, for example. The Kiwi driver was given only 2 races to prove himself, and those races were the ones he had never raced in his life. But in 3 qualifying sessions, he qualified P20 twice and P8 once in the sprint race in China. So, it was a clear indicator that Red Bull needed to do something sooner rather than later. Maybe with Vettel leading the charge, things will change for the better. If we are to look at the greater landscape, we will see one very important thing: the psychological approach that Vettel has compared to Marko's. Let's take Lando Norris, for example. The McLaren driver has been heavily scrutinized by Helmut Marko regarding the mental state condition that he's in. Whereas on the other hand, Vettel said loud and clear that this is precisely what can make him a better driver on the grid and serve as a role model for the entire sport. So, Vettel will most definitely serve as a bit of an improvement in the Red Bull camp, at least from a psychological point of view. As of now, the Austrian team has been perceived as a toxic environment to work under, primarily because of the internal war that happened between the Austrian and the Thai-based side of the company. But it's not like this is the origin of Red Bull's toxicity. We need to look back and see how Verstappen's teammates have changed time after time since Ricciardo's departure. The Aussie served as the best reminder that Max can be challenged in certain circumstances, and ever since that, 2 of the team's youngsters have felt the harsh reality of being Max's teammate. Gasly survived for 13 races only, whereas Albon managed to survive for 1.5 seasons. Both of them are now the cornerstones in other teams, Alpine and Williams respectively, which means that if you are not good in Red Bull, it doesn't automatically mean you're going to perform badly in another team.